Thanks for taking the time. I know it's a busy time of the year, so just jump right into it. Very successful first season. Just take us through not just the end part of it, but the whole year. What were some of big takeaways from last year?
The big takeaway for me was don't get wrapped up on the small stuff. Obviously you're going to lose games throughout the season. There'll be games that you should win that end up in ties and things like that. And it's not don't get too down in those moments because it's such a long season. We found that we started off well. Well, actually, we didn't start the first 3 or 4 games. It took us a little bit to get going. The results didn't go our way initially. A game against RGV that should have ended in a victory ended up in a tie, 2-2 tie. I remember after that game being quite upset, disappointed, angry, wondering why is this happening, because we're playing well, we're doing everything right, why aren't we getting these wins? And then we started to win games, went 10, 12 in a row, something like that, without losing. Then we had injuries and struggled to win for a few games and then kind of pick back up at the end of the season. So it's it really taught me that the season is so long.
And that's it. Locomotive FC with its second win.
There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. That's just a normal part of it. Don't get too down when moments don't go your way, like the RGV game, like in Phoenix, like those moments. Stick to the process, stick to the plan, because in the end, if you do that, inevitably, I think you always end up in a good situation, which we did. And we end up doing so well, I believe, because all the way through, we stuck to the same plan. We are who we are, this is our identity as a team. We didn't sway from that because results weren't going our way at times. We put things in perspective. We analysed moments, analysed games, analysed bad moments, and grew from it. So I think for me now this season, it's not being so emotional, when things don't go our way, because understanding that it is such a long year, and things are going to happen that we can't control, and you just have to continue, in the same manner.
Obviously, the year ended with the loss to Real Monarchs, who were the eventual winners of it. How much do you look back and feel like, man, that could have been us?
Yeah, there is a sense of we missed out on that. That was an opportunity to win a trophy, and to win a trophy in the first year would have been an incredible achievement. To win a trophy at any time is always amazing, but to do it in the first year would have been, not many teams do that, right? It would have been a very unique, a very prestigious moment for us all, for the club. So there is a sense of, now we had an opportunity and we didn't take it. But it also leaves us with a lot of determination, a lot of unfinished business for this year. I think that's helped us going into pre-season, coming into this year. We've come back in as a group, determined. We've come back in as a group ready to attack the season, because we know how close we came, and we want to do better this year. We want to go win it this year. Like I said, it won't be easy. The season's long. There's ups and downs throughout the course of the season. We just hope that we've put the pieces together for year 2, and that we approach the right way, and that we go one step further this year. And one step further for us would be in the USL Championship final, and that would be another amazing achievement for the club and the group in year 2. So the goal's the same, to go win as much as we can. We feel like we had an opportunity last year, but circumstances didn't allow us. Things happened that were out of our control. The red card, those moments, in that game that, you look back on. If Kiffy stays on the field, does the scoreline end differently? Does it go to penalties? We win on penalties if we've got 11 on the field. So all that, you go through all those moments in your head, but ultimately it leaves you just hungrier and more determined than ever to come back and win games.
With that, obviously yourself, we talked a little bit off air. You talked about how your off season felt short. Was that partially due to the fact that the season went longer, or the fact that you wanted to get back into it as soon as the season was over, because you felt we were so close?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's probably both. Obviously we went 2-3 weeks, even 4 weeks longer than most teams. Which makes our off season just naturally short. And then it's I remember on the bus after that game, going back to the hotel in Utah, Real Salt Lake, and thinking, man, I want to get trained tomorrow. I want to get back on the field. I don't want an off season now. And I guarantee the guys sitting behind me on the bus were thinking exactly the same. We've got a great group here. We want to get back on the field as soon as possible, and kind of, prove once again that we're a good team, show people that we're capable of going further and go win this thing. So yeah, for me it was probably both. You know, it's just the way it ended, it leaves a sour taste, and you just want to get back out there and rewrite that script.
How do you feel the group is coming together? There's some new faces, there's quite a few new faces, but there's also a lot of returning players, 16 returning players. How do you feel the new faces are being integrated to the team?
Yeah, I'm really comfortable with the group we have right now. Obviously last season it was tough having 20, 24, however many new guys. It felt like it took a while to get to know everybody and to be comfortable, truly comfortable together. Not on the field, just off the field. I feel now with having that year together, keeping the guys that we wanted to stay here, the 16 that are here, they're here because we want them here. Having time to really look at what we need to improve on and what pieces we need to add, not starting from a blank slate and adding 25 players, hoping that they all work out. We had an opportunity now to go and just improve one or two areas, and that afforded us some time to go and really scout properly, assess players. We know the league better now, so what type of players do well in this league. So the new players have not only come in and added those bits and pieces we needed to make us a better team, it's also made us better culturally. It's also made us better as a group character-wise off the field, because we were able to really dedicate our time to 4 or 5 new guys as opposed to spreading our time out over bringing 25 new players in. And the more players you have to bring in, the more likely you are to make mistakes. Not just in are they good enough as players, but are they good enough people? Do they belong in this group character-wise? Will they be able to put the team before themselves? And that's been a big thing for us this pre-season, is putting the team before you as an individual. Every individual's got goals and dreams and aspirations, but if you're able to kind of put that aside and put the team first, that puts you in a real good spot to go win games and be successful. I think with the guys we have returning, with the new guys coming in, buying into that philosophy, that we're definitely a lot further ahead right now than we were last season.
When you talked a little bit about integrating the new players, if there's a sense that you've gone with a lot more depths in the midfield, is that by design, and what can we look forward to with the new players centrally that you brought in?
Yeah, I just wanted to go with 2 top players in every position, and that's the way it's played out. There's 2 players for every position, 2 players that on any given day could play. It's not this one's a starter, this one's a backup. That's not the case anymore. It's 2 players for every position that can compete every day to make each other better, and play when called upon and do a great job for the team. That's what we've got, and with the new guys coming in, what you'll see is, straight off the bat, physically you'll see a bigger team. That's be the one thing that even an uneducated eye will see when you look on the field, that we're much bigger and stronger, size-wise, physicality-wise. They're also bringing a lot of experience with them from different places. Look at Distal, he's 30 years of age, played a high level in France, hundreds of games under his belt, played with some top players in the world. He's going to come in here and bring that quality and that experience in here. So we're a more experienced group, where these players are coming from their experiences. And with that, you create a more mature group, a group that's able to manage games better, a group that's able to win games in various ways. Last season we were very good at playing a certain style of soccer, very, very good at it. This season I want to be very good at doing that, but also very good at playing other ways when the game calls upon that, when it's necessary to win games in different ways. And part of that might be set pieces. Can you win a game off a corner, win 1-0 off a set piece? Last season we probably didn't have the size to do that in the group. This season we will. So it was finding solutions to problems that we had, making us a better all-round team, and a more experienced team that's capable of going that one step further.
And I think it's interesting you talked about being a team that's able to do different things from what you did last year, what you did very well last year. The one thing that I've noticed in preseason is just the emphasis on playing a lower block defensively. Last year, you guys were a more high pressing team. You tried, it looked like there was an emphasis on winning the ball higher off the field in preseason. So far, it looks like we want to be organized. We want to be able to still do what we did well last year, but also be able to defend in lower blocks. Is that something that's been emphasized in preseason?
No, it hasn't been spoken about, but it's just a case of doing what's right in the moment. We give the guys the tools. We have a set of principles that we stick to no matter what. And that allows them to make the right decision in the moment. Just like we talk about possession football. There's no such thing as possession football. It's doing the right thing. If the right thing is to pass it short, you pass it short. If the right thing is to hit it 60 yards for Omar Salgado to run over the top and score a goal, that's the right thing to do. So it's like having players that can make those decisions in the game. We're very good last season of possessing the ball. This season I want to be very good at possessing the ball, but I also want to be very good at making decisions in the game that are effective decisions. Whether that be offensively going forward, whether that be defensively. We're pressing right now, we're in a mid-block right now, we're dropping deep right now, we're counter-attacking right now. It's like, there's no right or wrong to football. If we win the ball back and we can counter-attack, we're going to counter-attack. It's not a style of play, that's just the right thing to do in that specific moment. Just like if we win the ball back and we decide to keep the ball, that's the right thing to do in that moment. So it's having a team that's capable of making better in-game decisions to like I said, win a game off a counter-attack. You don't need to be a counter-attacking team to do that. But it's in that moment, if that presents itself, then having the ability as a team, as individuals, and also the maturity as a team to understand that's the right thing to do in that moment. So I think that's the group we're trying to put together this year.
I talked a little bit about, obviously some players that you brought in. To look at some of the players that have left the group, the likes of Jerome Kiesewetter, Sebastian Velasquez, two of the top goal scorers in the group last year. How difficult is it? Is it difficult to fill that void? And what players should the fans be excited that will fill that void?
Honestly, no, it's not difficult to fill the void because truly we have a great ownership here. We have a great club here, a great support system upstairs with the president, the GM, and into the ownership that's going to allow us to go and find solutions. When we lose a player, what type of player do we need to bring in to fill that hole? So we've done that thanks to, like I said, the ownership supporting us. And so replacing those guys hasn't been a problem. Obviously, they're good players. You don't want to lose good players, but also whenever you lose a player, it's a chance to improve. Always, no matter who goes out the door, it's an opportunity to improve on that. Whether that's bringing in more players, whether that's bringing in, players that can help the group off the field. I think we've definitely improved as a group this year, even though we've lost, what would be, quote unquote, important players. I think we've definitely improved as a group, depth-wise. I think we've replaced them with quality, and I think in the forwards that we have this year, when you look at Marius Lomas coming in from North Carolina, he's a proven goal scorer in this league. He replaces Jerome just like that, seamlessly. Comes in, does a job. In many ways offers us more things in terms of on the ball, hold-up play, strength-wise, work-wise, defensively. He's 6'2", so he allowed us to go and get a forward in that we think could add a different dimension to our game, which was nice to do. We've definitely, like I said, added midfielders in there that might seem different to Sebastian Velasquez, different players, but just as effective. And like I said, this league, we know this league now, the physicality of this league, that the league's very transition orientated. Not many teams will possess the ball. It's very back and forward. Bringing players in that can allow you to dominate those moments. And in Distal Zola and Fabrice Facobo, we've brought in guys that have the quality, a different type of quality, Sebastian, but just as much quality. And then also allow us to go and dominate from a transition standpoint as well, because they have the size and the strength to go and win second balls, to go and stop counterattacks because they can run with players. So it actually allowed us to go out there and kind of improve the group as a whole. I think, Jerome, like I said, top players, gone out the door, but it allowed us to look at what we needed as a group, and I think we've definitely brought guys in that can fill those voids. Might look a little bit different, but for me, it'll be just as effective.
Obviously, there's talking a lot about the newer players that are coming in with, Distel and Fabrice, more central players. How does bringing them in affect the progression, affect the development of the likes of Chaparera, who just got back from LAFC? What does that do for his development? How does that affect his development?
It's a very good question. It's something that we definitely considered. Knowing that we're invested in Chapa.
Chapa Herrera coming onto the field for Locomotive, replacing Sebastian Contreras.
We want Chapa to do well. We saw how much he developed last season. We don't want to do anything to hamper that, but at the end of the day, this is a results-oriented business. If we have an opportunity to bring in players of that caliber, we're going to go and do it. And then Chapa's got a decision to make. Does he call it a day, throw in the towel, forget this, or does he fight harder, work harder, run more, listen more, learn more, and by that becomes a better player as well. So in presenting more competition for Chapa, he is the type of personality that will thrive on that and get better for it, and we've already seen that. And we're able to do that because of the personality that Chapa is. Some players might have responded negatively to it and gone backwards, and that's them, that's who they are as a player. But we're going to bring in top players in this club, and that just means everyone else needs to raise their game, and we consider that with Chapa, but I think because of who he is as a person, it's going to make him a better player. Giving him more competition in his position makes him a stronger player, and we've definitely seen that work already in this pre-season. He's come on leaps and bounds from last year already. He's playing incredibly well. We're really happy with his development and progression, and I think adding Distal and Fabrice into that area of the field, along with Richie, Hume and Nick, makes these guys work harder every day, and that improves them as footballers. So Chapa gets it. We had a conversation about it. He understood what the idea was this season. We're not trying to push him aside, but we think this is going to improve him as a player, and he's definitely bought into that.
There's been a lot of emphasis in terms of the fitness of the group so far in preseason. How does that translate, and how is that related and tied into what you're expecting and the style you're expecting to play this season?
Yeah, we've definitely done a lot more fitness-based exercises this year than last year. A couple of reasons. I think we haven't needed to work so much on tactical stuff because we have a foundation from last season. It's allowed us more time to go and get the guys into better physical condition. The guys come back into preseason this year in much better shape than they did last year. Being a new team, a lot of guys haven't played for a while before, so they came into preseason not in great shape. But guys now having the season under their belt have come back in pretty good shape, so we're able to kind of hit the ground running. So yeah, we've definitely pushed the guys more physically this preseason. Because for me, I think I want to play a game that is at such a high tempo, offensively and defensively, that the opposition can't live with it. It's kind of this relentless, pursuit of putting the opposition under pressure, whether that's attacking or defending, And to do that, you have to be fit. I want us to play at a tempo that kind of runs other teams into the ground. You look at Liverpool right now in the Premier League, it's not super pretty what they're doing, but they wear teams down. It'll be 0-0 for a while, but they're relentless with their attacking, with numbers in the box, with their defensive work, with running back, with counter pressing. It is non-stop, and eventually they wear you down, they score. And once they score one, they score two, they score three, because they've just completely destroyed, not just your spirit, but also your fatigue. So I want to be a level fitness-wise where we can do that, where we can grind teams down. We can get more players going forward into the box and more players running back to help defend. And to do that, you have to be fit. Our nines have to be able to run back and defend their own box. So they've got to be fit. Our eights and our fullbacks need to be able to attack and get into the opposition box. To do that, you have to be fit. So there's no way around it. You've got to run. And we've done a lot of running pre-season. The guys are tired right now. But I think once we kind of get over that little hurdle, and we give them a few days to recover, before the first game of the season, that you'll see a much more fitter team this year that's able to kind of run more for 90 minutes.
Last season, we had this conversation right during preseason, and you said the one thing you said to the fans was it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. You talked a little earlier about how started off a little slower than you would have expected, and went on a great run, going 10-12 without losing a game. Had some injuries, another sort of a rough patch in the middle of the year, and then finished the year really, really strong. What would make this second season a successful season for you?
For me, I look at the body of work over the 34 games of the regular season. It's hard to look past that because playoffs throw up different anomalies. But for me, it'd be finishing higher than 6th. I think we finished 6th in the regular season last year. We want to finish in the top 4 this year. That would be a realistic goal for us, a realistic progression to finish in the top 4. Top 4 then gives you home seeding for the playoffs, which makes that a little bit easier. So you start looking at those things. So for me, I think top 4 would be a realistic goal for us. Obviously, we want to finish first. All 16 teams in the conference go into the league season. I want to finish first. That's the goal of every single team. If it's not them, why are we doing this, right? So, yeah, let's try and finish first. Let's do the best we can. But realistically, top 4 would be a nice step in the right direction for this group.
If you had a message for the fans, what would that message be for them going into this next year?
I hope you enjoyed last season. That would be the first thing I say. I hope you enjoyed the ride with us. I hope this season you can bring more people out to our games and fill this stadium here. We have, in my opinion, we have a better group this season, a more exciting team. We want to get better from last year, so come out and support us. I thought the fans were great last year, but just like we want to improve on the field, the whole club wants to get better and bigger off it as well. So, and part of that is filling the stadium on a weekly basis and showing El Paso what football or soccer really means to the community, because there's passion here, the energy's here for it. So for me, it's like, let's get out there together, let's support the team together, let's go win games together, because it's a long season. It's a roller coaster ride. Come and experience it with us, and let's pack this house out every single game of the season. That'll be my message for the fans this year.